What's up, everybody? I'm comedian Michael Halcomb, and this is the Messed Up the Setups podcast. Today, I got in the house with me comedian Lee Hardin. This dude's based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he's about to tour Canada for a month. Boy, hey, yeah. See those Mounties. This dude's got a podcast. He's got a dry bar. He's going to be hilarious, so stick around.
It's all messed up, yeah. Everything's messed up. We're going from this mess up to the next setup. Everything seems so messed up, but it's just our setup.
All right. Welcome to the Messed Up the Setups podcast. I'm comedian Michael Halcomb. With me today, comedian Lee Hardin. Lee, this is the first time we're meeting, man. It's good to meet you.
Yeah, you too. You were the handsomest comedian I've seen in the last 2 days. Yeah, man.
Yeah, with this patchy gray and black beard.
Salt and pepper, buddy. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Love it. Love it.
You got the clean shaven face going on there.
Yeah, it's if I let it grow for 2 days, it's sad. It's enough to make you want to shave it. It's not
Yeah.
it's not worth keeping. It's like, oh, he's trying. He can't do
So
that.
you're based out of Nashville, yeah?
Yes, sir. Yeah, born and raised Tennessean, Middle Tennessean. Not too many of us. So take
Yeah.
a lot of pride in that. So even though I sound like I'm from California, I can't explain it, but I did grow up in Tennessee. It gets mucky. I have to explain to a lot of locals, like, no, I'm from here, dude. And so, yeah, it's great.
So yeah, I mean, Nashville area particularly, like comedy scene's kind of starting to explode there, ain't it?
It's massive, yeah. And, guys like Dusty Slay were a big part in making it like a huge scene. And obviously Nate being from the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like 5 minutes from our club, Zanies. It's kind of a
Yeah.
staple of Nashville. It's considered an A room with stand-up comedy. I know Joe Rogan's given it a shout out before, but it's actually our only real comedy club in Nashville. So it's the one, that and the lab right next to it, where they do Nate Land Live and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, right on. So
Yeah.
how'd you get into comedy, man? How'd that happen?
I just was always obsessed with stand-up when I was a little kid. If it was on TV, things that would come on after the Tonight Show or SNL, there was
Yeah.
all these like showcases. Louis Anderson. I don't know if there was one showcase or several, but they were always on after like those Tonight shows or Saturday Night Live, and it was always fun to watch. I was obsessed with it, and I just was obsessed with trying to make people laugh at that age. I wasn't good at it, but I was really obsessed with trying. And because people on radio and stuff will always ask, like, "Oh, are you the class clown?" And I'm like, "I'm a failed class clown." Yeah. Halfway through the day, teachers were like, He's trying that thing again." Oh, okay.
He's trying too hard.
He's trying way too hard. But about 10 plus years ago, I'd say 12 years ago now, actually at Zanies down the road, there was a guy that teaches stand-up comedy joke writing. His name is Rick Roberts. School
Yeah.
of Laughs.
Yeah.
Phenomenal human being, knows how to teach stand-up comedy better than anybody else. Yeah, I took that class. It was a 3-week class, got really into the writing process, and then found out where to go for open mics. And then, yeah, just tried to figure it out ever since. Lots of ups and downs, but thank God there was enough open mics to start getting into it and figure it out, and tried to hit the road shortly after that. And I've been, figuring it out ever since. I've got to do some cool things I never really thought I could get to do and still
Yeah.
get to do. So didn't think it would take me to Canada for a whole month, which was about to happen. So that's cool. Gotten to work with some of my guys I look up to. So it's been great. God's been really, really good in that area. So I'm really grateful. So
Right on, man. So you've been performing a while. Let me ask you, when were you born? What year were you born?
1985.
Okay, so you kind of grew up on the tail end of what I like call SNL's like golden era, man. When we had like
Well, yeah,
David Spade and Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Kevin Nealon, like all those
Lovitz
guys.
and
Yeah.
yeah, Dan Carvey was obsessed with. He had a
Yeah.
comedy special I knew every word to. Yeah, Comedy Central was awesome back then too. Oh yeah, so that was true. They always say it's generational for Saturday Night Live, but I'm like, I don't know. The talent was really diverse in that era.
Right.
Everyone had something different to offer
Right.
in that
Right.
so Adam Sandler was crushing it. Even when the new crew came in with Will Ferrell, that
Yeah.
was pretty funny too. But yeah, that golden era of Nealon and Victoria Jackson was on the tail end of that, which she's
Yeah.
here in Franklin, Tennessee. So
Oh.
she's great. I've met her we've hung out a few times. So that's pretty cool hanging out with someone who used to be on Saturday Night Live. And
Oh.
but yeah, I'm with you. That was definitely a golden era. Comedy Central would play. They would play those episodes all the time, and that's kind of how I really got to watch it more and more. So thank you for Comedy Central for being awesome at one point.
And then, like, at one point, I love that. And then, like, the other part of that for me, dude, it sounds like for you, like Dave Letterman, Jay Leno.
Yeah,
I
Conan
mean,
O'Brien.
yes. Yep.
Then even later on, Craig Ferguson was doing his thing,
Right.
and he honestly is my favorite overall. I loved Conan and
Really?
those guys. I just loved how fun Ferguson was. He did his own theme song. He just I don't know if he was off the cuff. He did a really good job at playing like he was off the cuff. It seemed like some organized chaos. I just thought he was a fun host. But yeah, Letterman, oh my gosh. Before shows, I try not to watch anything too news related, serious wise. So I'll watch either some Mystery Science Theater, just something that I know is going to make me just pop. But I'll often watch Letterman sketches where he's at Taco Bell or he's working there for the day and he's just messing with everybody
Right.
at the drive-through. And so, hey, like I can make this for you, but I got to get off work in 5 minutes. If you want to come in, make the rest of it, or you know, just driving people crazy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, yeah, like you got to slow down. I'm not a computer. And just like these people have no idea Letterman's behind the speaker at the drive-through. So stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just smart and dumb humor all in one. I don't know how they did it. So,
It was kind of also the golden era, like, hearing you talk just made me think of this, dude,
oh
of, like, prank telephone calls, right?
yeah, do Jerky Boys,
You
right?
can't really do that anymore, and there came a point, like, once cell phones got big, right, that ended, like,
Yeah,
but that was I remember in college, dude, me and a few buddies, we recorded an entire album of prank telephone calls. I think I
well,
still
that's
have it
awesome.
somewhere.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Well,
and
now you can do the reverse because I've ignored enough spam calls, but now I
yeah.
answer them. So, and I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I just confuse the crap out of them until they hang up. It's how are you doing today? I'm like, not great. I got hemorrhoids the size of sea monsters. How are you doing? And have you ever had that? It's not fun. You know why? Because they're the size of sea monsters. And how are you doing? I'm worried about you. Uh, man, what's your favorite color? And they just, you know, like, is this
That's
Roger? I'm
great.
like, yeah, yeah. And I've got hemorrhoids. Are you not listening? And then they eventually just boop, boop, boop. You just hear the hang up. It's great. It's fun. So you can still do it. It's just kind of now the ball's in your court if you want to,
Right.
have some
Yeah,
pockets
it's
of
like
joy.
they're calling you now, right? Yeah, we had a phone call recently. We just moved from Hawaii about 7 or 8 months ago, and when we were there, we had a phone call from some guy. He was acting like the police like a policeman, and he was
Yeah.
saying there was a warrant out for our arrest, and
Whoa.
if we didn't pay it, we would get arrested, and so he's trying to collect this money for a warrant
'Cause that's
online.
how it works. Yeah, it's yeah, yeah. We work like Mexico, we pay off for cops. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
And then I was like, I just flipped it on him. I was like, "Sir, what's your badge number?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "This is Chief so and so." I quickly Googled like a name and just, Chief so and so, and I'm like, "Give me your badge number, son." So yeah, he freaked out and hung up on me. He actually, before he hung up, he started dying laughing. He's like, "Boy, you got me good." So that was yeah,
Okay.
I got to do one of those, you know,
That's pretty cool.
flip it back
Yeah,
on 'em.
that's awesome. Usually they just hang up. You got him to pop. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, so those are few and far between, but yeah, those were the good old days of prank phone calls, man.
Jerky Boys. Yeah.
Yeah. So how'd you start? You started with the class with Rick Roberts. I'd been talking to him about a decade ago and exchanging emails. I was dying. I lived in Kentucky at the time to get down to that class he was teaching in Nashville,
Oh
and
yeah,
man, I was never able to make it happen with my like school schedule, work schedule. Just couldn't make
right.
it happen. But we exchanged some emails, and yeah, as a nice dude. But after what did you start with, open mics? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, I just wrote a bunch. It was just a bunch of clever one-liners that I thought were amazing. Oh gosh. Yeah. But yeah, I started going to open mics just to watch. If you go to a comedy club show, even if it's not the greatest show, you'll go, I can't do this. But you go to an open mic, you're like, oh, I won't be the worst.
It's
So
so true. It's
even if
so
I am the
true.
worst, how do you measure that? So, but yeah, and I was just, nervous wreck. I think there's a room called the East Room in East Nashville, still going. It's actually, I think, the longest running open mic now in Nashville. But yeah, they have like a two-piece band that plays every comic up. It's crazy. But I was ready to go, and Nate was living in New York at the time, but Nate was in town. Him and Brian Bates were hanging out, and I was about to go up, and then I think the host was like, "We have a special guest. He's been on Comedy Central and Cohen and Nate Bargatze." And I was mad only because you're about to go up, and then suddenly
Right.
that adrenaline, and then boom, it gets diffused, and you're like, Nate. So he was my Newman.
Nice.
But, yeah, he went up, like, "Oh, that's cool." Then I got to go up, and, I went over like, if you go over your time, the band starts playing a little bit, and then I could feel them warming up. I'm like, "Oh, crap, I'm over." You know, it wasn't the worst, but it was promising. I'm like, "Okay, I didn't die," and then
Right.
people were really nice afterwards, so that was cool. Like, "Oh, you're clever." But and the cleverness kinda wears off after a few open mics, and so it went from really awesome to like, "Oh my gosh, I hate this, I'm gonna quit." Yeah, it really set me straight, and I was just like, "But I took a class, I'm better than everybody." I had a really ignorant mindset when I first got on stage a few times. I had to get humbled, get my butt kicked, even later on down the road, you find new ways to learn and, get your butt kicked, but I'm glad I stuck with it. I always joke that I quit every year. There's always one gig that makes me go, I need to get a
Right.
cybersecurity certification or something. So, but no, it's been cool. Yeah, that's how it started was East Nashville, and the scene's grown a lot. It's very supportive, which is really cool. And what's fun now is that, all right, I work on weekends now doing it, and it kind of pays the bills. I'm really grateful for that. So it takes the pressure off of like, oh, I got to really show off for the open micers here. Or
Right.
people at open mics. That's disrespectful for a lot of comedians at the open mic, because a lot of these guys they're working too.
Right.
So,
Right.
and everyone's pretty cool there now too. So, yeah, yeah,
I mean, that can be tough, right? To find a scene that you fit in, that supports you, that's got your back. That's tough. I mean, comedy, we've talked about it a million times on the podcast here, like just how cutthroat it is, right?
yeah, absolutely. And it's hard because if you find a good fishing hole, you want to protect it. That's a part of it. You're like, all right, I want to keep my gigs, and so it can be cutthroat. It can be very much gatekeeping, and every area is different. But yeah, it's as long as you're not married to one way to go about it. Like there's plenty of places to tell your jokes, and you learn where to tell your jokes at. You learn what kind of show setup you prefer. I mean, maybe you like the pubs, bars, and that's a good place to get some jokes in. Maybe you prefer a certain other kind of show that don't tell shows. I mean, just not being married to like, oh, I got to be a club guy. I'm like, you
Yeah.
could do that. There's other places that might pay you better for one night compared to a whole weekend
Right.
hosting or featuring at a
Right.
club. So, but clubs do have that prestige, and they are the hardest places to be funny. I mean, even though they're there to laugh, you still have to bring it and do a good job. And it's fun, even if I'm not on stage. I go to Zanies and I'm watching who is on stage, and I'm just being around it, and it keeps me. I'm trying to keep from being complacent, and I was comfortable for a long time, so I'm trying to keep from being comfortable, because when I started doing shows, headlining shows, I was just having a certain set I was doing all the time. I'm like, I need to, if I come back here, I don't want to keep doing the same stuff. So I need to mix it up. I need to challenge myself. I need to write more. I need to see who's really bringing it at our A room and,
Right.
you know, get inspired, get challenged, and, try to be as good as that guy's good. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a writing routine, or is it kinda just when inspiration strikes, or are you scheduled? Like, what's that look like for you in terms of
Yeah.
writing?
I will try to sit down and write stuff, but lately your better ideas or my better ideas have came either on the road and I just think about something that happened or something that's happened with me and my roommate, or I just see something and I have a thought about it and I'm like, I'm gonna sandwich that in between this joke tonight. Or, oh, I'm gonna find a way to add that to a joke I've already been telling. So yeah, because you don't have to think much about them. It's more of a feeling, but you do need to write. I don't want to dismiss that either. But just lately, the last few jokes have gone better when I've been on the road driving, thinking about
Mm,
stuff, and I'll write something in the notes app, and you write a lot less than where you perform because now you know how to tell a joke versus I got it because you don't write the way you talk, you don't talk the way you write. So you'll write something, and then you're like, I don't. Yeah, you try to get it out on stage, doesn't make sense, it's too wordy. But when you're more comfortable on stage, you kind of know how to say something in your voice. You know how to pause at certain parts, make faces at certain parts. That just comes from time. But yeah, the last few jokes that I've been really proud of have just been in the moment where I'm like, well, yeah, I need to. All right, I'll say it like this on stage. If the crowd's feeling it, if we're having a good time, I'm gonna see what else I can get away with.
right, right.
Not that that's the way to always do it. So I don't want to, I
Yeah.
don't want to sound like I have anything figured out, but because I
Hmm.
don't. There's plenty of things I'm going, man, I just thought of a good tag to this joke that I wrote 3 years ago. And I'm like,
Right.
this this is something I did from a special. I've added jokes to that. And I'm going, well, I can't get rid of that joke now. I like this new tag or this callback I just added to it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm envious of people that can write like 20 minutes on one topic, for that upcoming special.
Right.
So yeah, like Greg Warren, guys that can do just rant on forever about a thing and do it so well. So yeah,
I find ranting to be the hardest. Like,
because you could lose the crowd. You could very much lose the crowd.
to me,
Yeah.
there's nothing in stand-up comedy that's harder than doing the rant just like that. I mean, I
Well,
find
yeah,
that to
like
be
yeah,
most challenging.
yeah, and it's when you see it done well, it's phenomenal. I just watched the Sebastian Maniscalco bit, and he's just such an act out. And I'm like,
Right.
man, I wonder how this started when he first started. Did open micers hate this? Were they like, what's all this act out? Why isn't he talking
Right.
about his therapy sessions? What's going on here? Why is he being all animated? I would love to see how he started out and where it got him. Because I just saw a clip of one of his new specials about people bringing food from their house to his house, and he just all that. I'm like, this is so good. He's got this ranting, but it's cartoony at the same time, and
Right.
yeah, it's so good. Like, I don't know how people like. I'm impressed at how they get to that point. So
Do your jokes tend to revolve around, like, certain themes? Like, what's that look like?
sorta, I've been adding more to because I turned 40 last year, and I had a few jokes about being a millennial, but I just started adding little by little, even if it's situational. Yeah, I is is this the part where we hash out the joke idea yet, or we're just
We'll
talking?
do that in part 2, but
Oh,
yeah,
part two, sweet. Okay, all
eager
right,
to get
cool.
there. Yeah.
Sorry to open the curtains.
No, that's
Sorry,
alright. Yeah. It's
sorry to show
a
you the
preview
sauce.
of coming attractions for everybody watching and listening. You're gonna wanna watch part 2, listen to part 2 because he's gonna bring a joke. Lee's gonna bring a joke, we're gonna workshop it, and it's gonna
Right.
be great.
Yeah. So I just talk about being a millennial. I'm trying to rant more a little bit about, we're way too comfortable in public. So, like it just how I know other comedians have talked about it, but I've just been like, we gotta ranting about how we gotta calm down in certain situations so we don't have to
Right.
wear pajamas all the time. You know, and yeah, I just, because I combine how we're the age of nostalgia with, other things like the joke was something about how I we have an adult playground in Nashville where you can drink and then jump on trampolines. We got that's a thing. Barcades. We have barcades where you can play
Yeah.
video games and go at a bar. And then how I got invited to the world's largest adult slumber party, the airport. So I just
I'm glad you said airport and not Diddy's house. So
oh yeah. That might be where the crowd's thinking. So I like that. That's um I might need to tag that in there somewhere,
yeah,
but yeah,
there
I
you
just
go.
rant
Use it if
about
you
that.
want.
Yeah, how yeah, my memory's going away quicker than I thought it was at this age, and a situation with my roommate that we just both couldn't think of a thing. We refused to look at our phones, and actually I went off cuff and joked about that in Michigan on Saturday, and I
Hmm.
was going, "Oh crap, why am I doing this? These people paid for a show. I don't need to figure something out on the fly." But I
Mm,
hashed it out, and I got enough of a response where I went, "Oh, all right, there's some legs. There's some legs to this." So,
nice,
yeah, absolutely.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, like, what's by the way, you mentioned you're a millennial. So I was born in 1980, and
Okay.
a lot of people don't know this. You could qualify as what's called a zennial too. Have you heard this term?
No.
Zennial?
No, I've not
It's
heard that.
yes. So there's a small, they call it a micro generation, 1980 to 1985, also
Wow.
called zennials.
Okay.
And
Are you entitled to some compensation? Is that what
that's right.
okay. If you were
So
born between
that's right.
1985.
So, Zennials are this micro generation that were the first to be raised on analog and go to digital, right? That's like
Yeah.
the like marking one of the marking features of them. But if
Wow.
you, I don't know how that would affect your millennial jokes, but you could also pass as a Zennial. So
It
there you
could. I
go.
hadn't heard that one yet. That sounds cute.
Yeah,
So, I like it, man. That's cool.
but I'm wondering. So let's imagine somebody's watching or listening that's like maybe right on the cusp of trying stand up. And I ask this question to like everybody who comes on, like what's one or two, I don't know, your best pieces of advice that you might give them?
Be obsessed. A lot of people
Yeah.
go, "Oh, I could never do that." And I always tell them, I'm like, "It's well, if you want to, you could. It's just about obsession. Are you obsessed with getting on stage? Are you obsessed with writing jokes? Are you checking out comedy clubs if you can, if there's one in the area? Are you going to open mics?" And I say that because there's areas of the country where, yeah, I want to get into stand up, but you're really surrounded by nothing that gives you that's close that.
Right.
The nearest comedy scene might be an hour away. So are you obsessed enough to drive that hour? Like for me, like I was obsessed enough to drive to Chicago and to see if my jokes worked in Chicago at a showcase where I know I wasn't gonna get paid.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
that might not have been everybody's way of thinking, but that's just I wanted to see if my jokes actually worked in front of a crowd outside of Nashville. I was like, all right, I don't have a family to. I mean, I'm unattached, so I can drive there and drive back and get back to work the next day and see what happens. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's just, are you obsessed enough to see if it's going to work or not? And then, gosh,
Do you think, let me ask you a question, just piggyback
yeah,
on that real quick. Do you
sure.
think, or have you experienced this? Because I love that advice. Like for me, I've thought about that frequently, like the obsession with joke writing, for example.
Yeah.
Like I'm really obsessed. I'm a student of joke writing first and foremost, and like the art and science of it. But I'm wondering, have you experienced this in your career yet where maybe obsession leads to burnout, or is it no? Like the
Oh,
obsession.
yeah. Yeah. Like I said, there's always lately, it hasn't happened the last couple of years, but for a while, there was always one thing that just made me want to go, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I'm not getting this opportunity that I thought I did, which that just comes from entitlement.
Right.
I've had to
Yep.
grow up a lot the last couple of years. God's really had to work on this mind because
Mm,
it was a wreck for a good minute. But yeah, there's always been a moment where I just don't think I have it anymore. Yeah, and it came from a lot of the comparison monster was really
yeah,
strong
dude.
for a long time. It was and it eats you quietly.
Yes.
It's not loud. It creeps in, and you just gotta. I don't know how you find that security, that wall to kind of keep it out. I think it's with gratefulness. Tony
Yeah.
Robbins is big on what you have versus what you don't have. So, and you go, "Oh, man, well, did I get paid to tell jokes? Cool, that's pretty awesome. Is my
Right.
is my health good? Can I get up? Can I walk? Can I function without a breathing machine? Can I see? Can I hear? I have way more going on than I realize." And when you have that, and you're like, "Oh, man," and then there's this weekend where I get to go tell jokes. Who cares where it's at? I mean, there is a point where you wanna get kinda picky about the quality of shows that you're doing. So, I don't plan on doing a nursing home again anytime soon. That was a break. That was a pivotal point for me.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, it was, this was after I had a comedy special. This was after I got to do, the Mike Huckabee show. It's no longer around, but I got to tell jokes on
Right.
this show called Mike Huckabee. That
Right.
was fun. So I had some, creds and were Tonight Show were Comedy Central, but it was still good video that looks like I'm a pro. So, I I was, I was taking these gigs from a booker at one point, and you say yes to the gigs first, you find out what the gig's gonna be later, you can say no to it later, but the gigs paid well enough, and then I found out it was gonna be a week of nursing homes in Louisiana, and I was like, "No." I was like, "I guess I'm gonna do this. Alright, let's see," and it was not fun. It wasn't like people weren't booing, they didn't have the energy, they were on oxygen tanks, so they couldn't really heckle. Didn't even know you were there. They didn't even know you were in the room, and it was, really sweet people, but it just wasn't conducive for a comedy show vibe, and you're doing that
Right.
all week, and you're meeting these people that some of their families just drop them off. You hear these stories, so it was a blessing to meet these people, but I just was like, "This isn't what I had in mind for."
Mm.
Can we edit this out
Yeah.
really quick? I gotta be hang on 1 second. Hang on. Oh gosh.
Well, while you're
Hang
doing
on.
that, I'm gonna share your website. So for
Yes.
everybody who's watching or listening, it's been fun so far. Comedian Lee Hardin, you can go over to his website, which is leehardincomedy .com. And yeah, cool little website, great photography on there, and you can see comedy clips of Lee, read a little bit about him. There's a link to his dry bar there, and some stuff on Huckabee as he was just talking about. Also, tour dates are
Gosh.
coming up. So, and he's got an old podcast
Oh gosh.
on there. So, leehardincomedy.com.
Okay.
So, yeah.
My roommate is he called twice just now, so I want to make sure he's not dead. I want to make sure he's not dying. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay. Well, good.
Okay. He's good. He's good. Okay, he's alive. Okay, good. All right. Okay.
He doesn't live in that rest home you were
No,
visiting.
no. Thank God. That's where we met. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, sorry, I'm messing up the recording.
No, dude, it's good. I
Yeah.
was just sharing your website with everybody. So,
Appreciate that. But
yeah.
yeah, it was a week of that, and that was just putting me in a driving back. I'm just like, why God? Why? What was that about? And towards the end of the year, like the next gig I had was at a lock-in for some sort of high school graduation, and they sat on the gym floor, stopped all their fun activities to listen to some guy they can't relate to. Oh, I'm just, I was just, yeah, on the way back home going, what is this?
Wow.
The following year, so I was definitely at a low where I'm like, okay, this isn't what I had in mind. All right, next year's coming up. I have one gig in June, maybe. And so, all right, maybe this is God saying something else. Maybe this is the end. I started looking up, cybersecurity certifications, looking back into maybe, being a firefighter again or trying to be a firefighter again. I was just looking at it, and I also went, you know what? I always wanted to do these theater shows because I've done a couple of them, and I really like doing comedy that way. It's a way more fun experience. So
Right.
I've got headshots. I've got things that make me look like a pro. I've got these creds. Maybe they'll work in certain areas. So I just treated it like a 9 to 5 job. I was 8 to 3 a.m. whenever or between work schedule. I was emailing these theaters one by one and just presenting myself, seeing if anybody said yes. Then we figure out the details later. And that's what kind of happened. One said yes, then eventually another one said yes, and it just kind of snowballed. So I went from having basically no gigs from October of that year to like having basically January to May full. So that was pretty cool. I had to learn how to promote, talk business, talk, money. What does ticket sales look like? What does a ticket split look like? And that was its own challenge too. That was a stressor as well because I just wanted to tell jokes, but it was worth it. Definitely it was even gigs were coming in, but I was still even stressing out about, oh, if ticket sales don't work, then the whole experiment's failed. I just was going all over the place and then other comedians were reaching out at the same time going, man, you cracked the code. How are you doing this? And I'm like, so that was, people were noticing, which I wasn't expecting, not that I blew up and became famous, but people were noticing that I was consistently doing a certain show over and over. So yeah, there's been some low points, but the nursing home's probably been that was probably the final. All right, this might be it. The website might come down by the end of the year. So I'll see if I can get a cybersecurity job or something that, pays consistently, and you're getting older. You're like, all right, do I need to start getting responsible at this age? But I'm glad I hadn't had to. It's been the last 3 and 4 years have been a phenomenal ride. I'm so grateful it's worked out the way it has. So
Right
yeah.
on. Let me ask you before we end episode 1 here, if you're cool to talk about. I mean, you've mentioned like God several times. Are
Yeah,
you you a Christian?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not, I'm definitely a dumb Christian, but definitely a Christian.
Some Christian.
I attempt it. I'm horrible at memorizing Bible verses, but I'm like, oh, it says that one thing, just don't do it. That's what Bible says. Yeah, I'm horrible at memorizing verses.
You ever talk about like your faith or religious
Yeah,
stuff? Yeah.
I joke about that on stage, and the trick for that, for me at least, was you don't want to be super specific. So you can make it broad. You can make this palatable for a general crowd. You just got to find out, a connecting point. Like, hey, this is what we did. This is what this means. You already are going to get some like weirdo reactions when you mention you're a Christian, which is fine because you want to like you can make. There's plenty of things to like have fun with about it.
Yes.
So
Right.
without mocking what you believe. And that's
Yeah.
what I was doing. So just the silly things I had in youth group or me being an idiot in a Bible study group. That's a newer joke I've been working on that I'm really proud of. Just dumb jokes that I'm like, how is this working? Like it's like worked over and over again. And you're like, this shouldn't be this. Okay. This feels like a pun, but it's not. Okay. It's working though. So yeah. So I do definitely talk about church stuff if I can. And there's a way to do it without being, too inside baseball.
Well, dude, this has been fun, man. Thanks for carving out some time and dropping some knowledge and sharing
If you
your
want to call it
story.
that, if you want to call it knowledge, scatterbrain buffoon.
Every little bit of advice helps, and
Yeah.
some, especially like to somebody coming up or on the verge of trying it. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
appreciate
Uh,
that.
yeah. Thanks. Thank you so much.
And for those of you watching or listening, this is only part 1, as we said earlier. We're gonna have a part 2 where Lee's gonna bring a premise or a joke he's been working on. We're gonna try to punch it up, and then we're also gonna do some jokes on the spot, some on the spot comedy. So that's gonna be really fun. For now, check out leehardincomedy.com. Is that it? That's the website?
That's it. Nailed it.
Comedy.com. Check that out. And again, you can see some clips of podcasts where he's going to be playing. So leehardincomedy.com. Once you're done with that, head over to michaelhalcomb.live. Got a daily comedy blog I post there. Got this podcast, Messed Up the Setups, that drops twice a week. And you can get this on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all the things, So yeah, go over to michaelhalcomb.live and the blog, the podcast, free resources, and all kinds of other stuff. So man, Lee, dude, it's great to connect with you. Looking forward to episode 2, man. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And for everybody out there watching or listening, we're going to stop there and say we hope that helps.
It's all messed up, yeah. Everything's messed up. We're going from this mess up to the next setup. Everything seems so messed up, but it's just our setup.